Philippians chapter 3 and verse number 2, the Bible says, beware of dogs. So you don't even have to look it up. Now just look at me this morning. If you want to take notes, you're welcome to, but you're not going to probably be able to figure out how to take notes on this lecture. Because here's what I'm going to do for you, young ladies, this morning. I'm going to talk to you about guys. Now, what better person to talk to you about guys than a guy? See, here's the thing. You need to learn to trust the godly wisdom of godly men in your life to help you to understand a guy. Now, I'm not going to talk to you about dating or courtship or anything like that, because that's not the point of this lecture. The point of this time today, ladies, is not to talk about dating. I don't think young girls should be dating anybody. And whatever your godly parents and your pastor believe about all that sort of stuff, then that's where you need to be with this sort of thing. And this world's a little goofy about this guy-girl stuff. So I'm not really talking about, how you like guys. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm trying to help you today with something. Look at me. I'm trying to help you today with something to help you to understand guys. Now, what better way to do that than to use an analogy in the Bible where it says in Philippians 3 and verse number 2, beware of dogs. The Bible is not talking about four-legged, hairy critters that you need to watch out for. The Bible is using the analogy of likening a man to a dog. So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to show you 7 pictures of a dog, different dogs, and I'm going to liken a guy to these 7 dogs and teach you something about a guy. See, here's what we don't do. We don't think that somebody else can understand a guy better than you could. See, a godly father, a godly grandfather can help you understand guys. I trust my wife's judgment about women as a pastor. When my wife says to me, honey, you got to watch out for that one right there, I'm clueless, because most guys are clueless. I don't really pay attention to stuff. And my wife will say, that lady could be a problem. I always listen to her. I go, oh, okay. Problem about, she goes, a problem. I go, okay, whatever. And I just avoid that person like the plague. Because my women understand women, guys understand guys. So what I'm going to give you is a little groundwork on this thing of beware of dogs. Do not be fooled for a moment that Hollywood or the secular music industry understands what a guy is. You do not get your idea, well, that's the kind of guy I want from television, movie video stuff. If you listen to the wrong kind of music, those people are selling a product that really doesn't exist. And what they're selling you, you don't want. Now look at me. People who act for a living are pretending to be something that they're not. So you cannot, if you're into chick movies and you sit around and watch chick movies and you get your idea of guy-girl stuff, you get that from movies. You're getting a wrong impression, completely wrong. Oh, it's so romantic. You're a cripple too high for crutches. You're not using your head unless your neck's blowing a bubble. I mean, figure it out now. You're getting the wrong idea about things. All I'm trying to tell you this morning is, if you want to understand a guy, what a guy is, what guys are like, then listen to a man. I'm not the most godly man on the planet, but I think I can help you a little bit this morning. So even you young girls, I want you to listen to this preacher this morning very carefully. So it's kind of a goofy lecture, just a little bit goofy, but it's also quite serious. So I want you to listen to me very carefully this morning. We're going to talk to you about beware of dogs. See, guys are like dogs for a couple of reasons. Dogs are pretty basic. They're not complex creatures. Cats, besides the fact that they're satanic, I hate cats. I hate cats. Any guy who likes cats needs a hormone check. I hate cats. Oh, I like my kitty. You stay away from that guy right now. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's something wrong with a guy who'll sit there and hold a fuzzy thing that purrs like a machine and won't come when you call it. Dog, here boy, boop, he's right there. Cat, look at you like, you talking to me? I hate cats, and I'm not cruel to animals. I got preacher friends who'll drive up on the lawn to run one over. I don't do that. Seriously. I have a preacher friend. He had 2 cats. He doesn't own one, obviously. He had 2 cats fighting on his front porch. In the middle of the night, he got out of his bed, got his shotgun, walked around the back of the house, leaned around the front, and blew him off his front porch. People's lights popped on, and they stuck their head out the window, and he goes, just getting a cat, and went back in his house. Now, I don't do that, okay? That's not my thing. Some of you are going, that's just terrible. I think it's interesting, but I don't do that, okay? I hate them, but I won't. I've stopped. I've seen cats try to commit suicide and run under my car. I've stopped to keep from running them over, okay? But I hate cats. My grandson likes them. And he said, Gramps, why don't you like cats? I said, because I love Jesus. That's why, son, you got to figure it out. I hate cats. But now dogs, you see, dogs are pretty basic. Here it is. Now see it with me. They're not complex. And guys are like this. A dog wants to eat, to sleep, to hunt, and to mate. That's all a dog wants to do. And in reality, most guys just want to eat, sleep, chase things, and somewhere down the road get married. And that's about it. Any guy who's a complex person, you want to stay away from him right away. I was counseling with a couple in my office one day, a husband and a wife. And she said, well, you have to understand something, Pastor. My husband is a complex man. I go, no, ma'am. No, ma'am, he's not. She goes, well, you don't understand my husband. I go, yeah, he's a man just like me, and believe me, he's not complex. And the guy's just sitting there going, mm-hmm. She thought he was just, man, deep. You know, he had that inner child thing going on. He was deep. I go, no, he's not deep. He's not even paying attention right now. I can tell you that right now. So it's that way. Guys are basic. So let's get right to it this morning, shall we? First one, gentlemen, please, if you would. Beware of dogs. Guys are like dogs. Now, you got your basic dog here. This is what you call your German Shepherd, also known as a police dog. Now, if I'm going to teach you something about guys, let me teach you this about some guys. Some guys are police dogs. Let me explain to you what I mean by that this morning. It means a police dog is very protective. That's why you see police, they'll use them in their patrolling and that sort of thing, chasing bad guys down, that kind of stuff. But a guy who's like a German Shepherd, who's a police dog, is a guy who you want to stay away from because he wants to police your life. Now, when you get married, you have a husband who will lead you. That's not bad. But in life, young ladies, when you start to get around a guy, I'm not talking about dating. I'm not talking about courtship. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you get around guys in youth group, in life, and all of a sudden this guy turns into a cop. He's decided he's going to start guiding and directing your life. He is not your person to whom you will marry. He's just some guy in the youth group. He's just some guy a friend of your brother's, somebody like that. But all of a sudden, this guy's like a German Shepherd, and he's deciding he's going to police your life. He's going to start giving you direction. He's going to start giving you guidance. And no young person needs to listen to someone who's their age or close to it when it comes to life. Excuse me, as hard as it is for you to even grasp, a 16-year-old guy doesn't know what we would call in the old days squat. So what is squat? It means nothing. You know what he is? He's 16. He doesn't know diddly. And this guy's got no business policing your life. I remember when I was in Bible college, and I was a married man in Bible college stuff, still married, still the same woman too, by the way. But when I was in Bible college, I watched these single young people. And I saw this guy one day. He was standing by the entrance of one of the girls' dormitories. I assume it was his girlfriend, came down, I hope it was. She stepped out of the girls' dormitory section into the hallway where he was standing just as I passed by. And he turned to her and he goes, "I don't like that blouse, go change it." And she said, "Okay." She thought that was being submissive. The Bible says, it says, "Wives, submit yourselves to your own husband." You don't have to, well, girl don't have to be submissive to every guy on the planet. Now, you do have to be submissive to your authority. I'm not talking about that. Just because he's a guy, he's got no business telling you what to do. Just another teenage guy, boss you, "Give me that seat, get up and move. Go change that blouse." And she turned on her heel, went right back in. I thought, I have two daughters. My girls went to Bible college. I told them, I said, I teach at the same Bible college still. I told them, I said, you get interested in some guy, you tell me who he is, I'm going to check him out. And if you have a problem with any guy on this campus, you don't go to the staff and faculty. You come to your dad. Some guy starts to boss you around, you let me know. There was this one boy that was interested in one of my daughters. And my girls are like my wife. They're beautiful. And my daughter said, "Daddy, there's this boy. He's asking me to go on an activity with him, and I just don't want to go, but he won't leave me alone about it." I said, "It's okay, sweetheart. I'll talk to him." I said, "Who is he?" She pointed him out. "That guy right there? Okay." She said, "Now, Daddy, don't be unkind." I said, I won't be unkind. I left my knife at home. And so after a few minutes, she walked up. I went on the boy. I said, "Hey, bud, can I talk to you for a second?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "So you've been asking my daughter to go on an activity?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm kind of like, okay, pal, look at me. You leave her alone, I'm going to gut you with a dull deer antler. Hang what's left of your carcass from the flagpole in the parking lot." He goes, "Well, Pastor Johnson," I said, "are we going to have a conversation about this?" He goes, I said, "Bud, look at me." "No. And don't even look at her again. Are you clear?" He goes, "Well," I go, "No." And then I said, "And if you want me to make it more clear to you, I'll take my jacket off and slap you so stinking hard your mama going to feel it." He wouldn't even look at her for the rest of the school year. This guy, you understand what I'm saying, young ladies? We do. We want you to understand the biblical role of a woman's submission to authority and when she gets married to her husband. So I'm not bypassing that. Youth director tells you to do something, don't look at him and say, "Brother Johnson, I don't have to do that. What are you, some kind of police dog?" No, I didn't say that. I'm talking about some 14-year-old punk who's got pimples so bad he looks like a relief map from Utah, who starts bossing you around in the youth group. Excuse me. Now, don't get all Hillary on me and get nuts, okay? But you don't need a police dog. No. No guy, listen now, no guy should separate you from God, from your family, or God's will. And no 15-year-old know God's will for your life. Well, some of them are slick, they're really smart. "Well, I just think maybe I can help you with this matter of God's will." He's 14. Are you kidding me? And if he's 17, that's no better. And if he's 3 years older than you, he's still 2 years less mature than you are. Girls mature mentally and abilities. They mature faster than guys do. So an 18-year-old girl, she's far more mature than an 18-year-old guy. The point is, no police dogs. You be careful of these German police guys. Next one, please. You got your boxer. Boxers are extremely muscular, kind of like, right here. They're fighters. The boxer dog kind of guy is somebody who has no control of his temper and his passions. Well, he's like any guy. See, there's guys, listen to me, ladies, look at me. There are teenage guys who think that a bad temper is a sign of a good guy. Now, this may shock you. This statement will shock you this morning. Some of you need a little shocking. I do have a trouble sometimes with my temper. I know it's shocking. You're saying, "Sweet Pea Johnson, there's no way you could be like that." Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're standing in line at Walmart with my wife one day, bought some stuff, put in a cart. We pull up two women, college-age types, about 22, 20 something or other, are in front of us, and they had a shopping cart piled full of stuff. The girl rings it all up for them through the register and gives them the amount, and they both look at each other, give her a card that they were going to use to pay for it, and neither one of them had enough money to pay for all those items. So they said, I guess we'll have to put some back. About 2/3 of what they had in that cart. There was lines everywhere. I couldn't get out of line, and I stood there for 35, 40 minutes of my life while they argued over what kind of hair product they were going to, because they were sisters or roommates or something. They took 40 minutes off my life. My wife is standing there. She's such a wonderful Christian. I ain't that good a Christian. After a while, I thought, you're going to be kidding me. And they're going, well, I want to keep that one. I don't want that. I do, but I don't want that. But I don't want that. And I'm going, you don't want it. I was about to blow a gasket right there in Walmart. My wife was just saying, now, honey. I go, no, honey, my foot woman is thinking ridiculous. This is stupid, bro. What is the matter with these stinking women? They're just standing here arguing over hair products. And I'm on out of Walmart. I got a problem with my temper. Sure. Look at me. Why is it when I'm in a hurry to go somewhere, somebody gets in front of me who's got nowhere to go and they're in no hurry to get there? I'm for all these people coming to America. Would somebody teach some of these folks where a gas pedal is on an American car so you can get that thing going and get out of my cotton picking way? And they have to get in front of me. Idiots from Oregon and Washington get in the fast lane in California and won't pull over. They're idiots. They should just stop them at the border and not even let them in our state. Make them drive through Nevada to go where they're going. They get there. See, I get upset about stuff. But the truth of the matter is, young ladies, listen to me. I haven't lost my temper in a long time. Oh, I get upset. Look here. A man that the Bible says, be ye angry and sin not. We always tell people, no, you should never get angry. Oh, yeah, you should get angry about some things. There ought to be some things that just flat tick you off. But look here, young ladies. A young man who is not one of these is a young man who can do that with his temper and that turning it off. Not lose control. Over the top, absolutely no control of his temper, his passions. None. Because he's a big man. But we'll talk about this in a minute. Watch how he treats his mother and his sisters. That'll tell you a lot about the guy. One of these guys who mouths off to his mom all the time. Now listen to me carefully. If somewhere down the road you're unfortunate to get any further in knowing this guy, he's going to talk to you like that. Going to treat you like he treats his mama. Well, his mother's, his mother doesn't understand him. Oh, his mom understands him. But he's such a punk. He lips off to his mother. You should have been in the chapel with the guys and me yesterday. We had a little chat about being a punk and mouthing off to your mom. A boxer. He's a fighter. He's Mr. Muscles. There's nothing wrong with muscles. Some of these boys need them. But the truth is, listen now, if he uses intimidation to control you, you better get away from him. Well, if you're not going to text me, well, then I'm just going to have to talk to somebody else. Then just look at him and do this. Then go ahead. Hey, look at me, ladies, young ladies. And again, I'm not talking about boyfriend, girlfriend stuff. I'm talking about a guy who uses intimidation to get you to do what he wants you to do. He intimidates you. The average young lady is going to give up her purity just to some knucklehead who intimidates her into doing that. Well, if you really love me. If he really loved you, he'd keep his cotton-picking hands off of you. We'll get to that dog in just a minute. But now listen, young ladies, listen to me carefully. Intimidating people around, using social media to intimidate you. I hope that you're not that plugged into that junk, because I think it's junk. I don't have a Facebook page. I don't have a Twitter because I'm heterosexual. I don't Twitter people. I don't get involved in social media. Look, I text and I email. And by and large, I like talking to people. This idea of social media is a place where cowards hang out to rack and ruin people in their lives. Watch out for the boxer. Number next, please. Oh, here he is. The pit bull. You know who that is? That's Mr. Bad Boy. What is it with girls who like bad boys? Oh, he's bad boy. I like the bad boys. Oh, you like the bad boys. You want a jerk? You're interested in some guy who's a jerk? Huh? The pit bull, because you know what pit bulls, right? They probably have the worst reputation of dogs. But you know what the number one dog that bites more people than any other dog, do you know what it is? It's a Dalmatian. The dog on the fire engine with the little hat on. He bites more people. The Dalmatian bites more people. Anybody got one? Anybody got a Dalmatian? That Dalmatian, that brand. Did you know that pit bulls, unless they are taught to be aggressive, unless they are bred that way and they're taught to be fighters and stuff, by and large, pit bulls are pretty decent dogs. They really are. They've got a very bad reputation, however. You don't get interested in the bad boy. The guy, look at me, the guy in the youth group. Always, got to be by himself. He's always sitting in the corner. Well, he's just a troubled soul. Why can't he do what everybody else does? Oh, no, because he's the bad boy. He's Mr. Tough Guy. If he has a reputation of not being obedient and him being submissive to his proper authority, he is trouble. He's not a man, he's a punk who has a bad attitude. What is it interesting about people with bad attitudes? Why? Look at that thing. You walk down the street, that dog walks up to you, you'd think, he's going to take my leg off. Just because he's a pit bull. I was in this guy's house here a while back. He had two of them. Both of them were over 100 pounds. A head that big. Massive stinking muscles in their jaws. Pit bulls, they were bred for fighting. They can literally take a dog a little smaller than them and crush their skull with their jaws. And just crush them. I saw one do that to a small dog one day and just took it, just walked up to it, took the dog's head in his mouth, and I heard him crush it like a walnut. Beware of dogs. See, this bad reputation thing, that's not good. And I think I don't have to say this, but I probably will anyhow. You never let a guy hit you. So what do I do if you do? You go to your dad or your older brother. If you don't have one of those, you call me. I'll fly wherever you are, and I'll take him out back, and I'll whoop him so bad his mama will feel it. A lady called me one day at the office. She said, Pastor, my husband slapped me. I said, are you at home? She said, yes, ma'am. She said, yes, sir. And I said, okay. Is your husband there now still? She goes, yes, sir, he is. I said, okay, good. Tell him to wait for me. I'll be there in just a moment. She said, thank you, Pastor. Are you going to come and talk to my husband? I said, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to come and talk to your husband. See, I grew up in a drunkard's home with a stepfather that beat my mother and beat on us as children. There's nothing as despicable as a guy who laid hands on women and children. Drove over to the house, pull up. He's standing out in the front yard. He comes up to me. This is a big guy, too. He comes up to me. He goes, I know, Pastor, why you're here. I'm sorry. I got angry, and she smarted off to me, and I just hit her. And I know I shouldn't have done it. I go, you're right. Now, let's step over here for just a moment. I said, look at me. I said, you lay another hand on that woman, and I'm going to forget I'm a preacher, and I'll show you what I was before I became a preacher. And I'll knock you into next week. I'll hit you so stinking hard you'll die from bouncing. He goes, well, I got anger issues. I got, you got worse than that. You're going to have stitches. I said, one of us is going to wind up going to the hospital, and I'm not dressed for the ambulance. Don't you ever lay a hand on that woman again. You understand that? You go out there and punch a hole in the fence. You kick your stinking dog, but you keep your hands off your woman, you knucklehead. So I'm sure I don't need to explain that to any young ladies in this room today. But listen to me, the pit bull with a bad reputation, any guy, you get a guy to go handle him. You get your youth director to go deal with them. You find some hobo on the street with a homeless sign that says, we'll eat for food. Ask him if he'll go kill that guy for a can of Alpo. I don't care what it is, but you don't put up with that. You understand that? Any guy that would use any kind of physical intimidation. Well, let me tell you something. Whoa, 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 whoa. Excuse me. Excuse me. Don't you ever have anything to do with a person like that. And you get some guy to deal with that knucklehead. Because listen to me, young ladies. A guy who tries to intimidate women, actually act like he's going to do something to a girl, he's absolutely no danger to any guy. Because if he did it to a guy would get up and tell him, go out in the backyard, practice falling down for a minute, because I'm going to come out there and show you what it works. Some of you kind of looked at me funny on that one. I hope that it didn't need it, but let me throw that one in there for you. Pit bull. Next one. I have no idea what that brand is. We will simply define him as wimpy. Little wimpy dog. Now there are those girls who are interested in bad boys, and then there are those girls who are interested in Mr. Wimpy. He's the little guy who could be 6'2" and 222 pounds, but he's always got a problem. He's just having a bad day. His mama doesn't understand him. And nobody understands him. And his knee hurts. He's got a bad back. He's 14. I got a 16-year-old kid the other day who was telling me, I got issues with, I got a bad heart. And I go, you mean like you got a heart condition or something? He goes, no, it kind of runs in my family, and I think I got the same thing. I go, you think you have the same thing? Mr. Wimpy. Does this guy complain about everything? It's too hot. It's too cold. Man, shut up. It's too hot. It's too cold. Okay, here we go. Watch it. My wife has been with me on a lot of missions trips. We went to India together. Pastor Rule took his wife, and we took 2 other preachers with us. That missionary we were with, and he was an Indian pastor. He did not know, and it wasn't my fault, the preacher that set the trip up for us. He didn't know we were bringing our wives with us. He thought it was going to be 5 preachers who were going to, we preached in churches, we did weddings, we preached pastors' conferences. We started crack of dawn every morning, went till 11 o'clock every night, and we're in this van driving all over the place, preaching all over the place. He had a very tough schedule for us. We had a lot to do, which is fine. Most people's idea of missions trips are you go somewhere and you sit around a restaurant, stay in a 5-star hotel, and then you get in a van and go home and hit Disneyland coming and going. I go on missions trips. We take bucket baths and sleep on cots. It's tough. But you didn't know our wives were going to be with us. We had 2 wives with us. I had another preacher. I don't have 2 wives. Okay, we get. Listen to me. Our wives were there every morning, dressed and ready. And you know what dressed and ready means, right? Hairdo, the whole enchilada. Now let me say a quick word about makeup. If your people don't believe in makeup, then don't wear it. My philosophy is if the barn needs paint, paint it. But anyway, so they get up, they get their hair done, they're ready to go, and they're right there at the crack of dawn every morning. And we were there for 10 days. 10 days of hard going. Those 2 preachers, after 3 days, said, I'm so tired, I'm not going today. I said, look at me. See them 2 women down there? They're going. You're going to stay here and rest? Yeah, I'm just not feeling too good. I go ahead. Well, it was a work day at church, and, I can't go because I got this thing on my foot, and I got. Then there's basketball in the afternoon. He's out there playing basketball. All of a sudden, miraculously healed. Wimpy. Always whining. There's nothing as disgusting as a guy who whines. You know that? I was taught when I was a kid growing up, I was taught if you got beat up, you never let them know you got beat up. You didn't lay there and cry because some guy stomped on you. You got up and you got into it. And if he couldn't whoop you, then you go back with a bat and you settle the score later on. But you didn't go, me, and he goes to his mommy about everything. I told my mom what they did in the youth group and how I didn't like it. Wimpy! What is up with these guys? Wimpy. Little puppy dog. And you say, but I like puppy dogs. Then go get a dog at a kennel. But do not think for 5 seconds some little wimpy punk who can't get, listen, look at me. He can't get a job and he can't keep one. Now listen to me. Somewhere down the road, again, if that ever turns to a situation with this person that you might actually wind up marrying him, you're going to be working, and he's going to be sitting on his rusty behind on the couch watching television or playing video games, and because he can't. Well, they didn't treat me right at McDonald's. Oh, shut up and go to work, man. Honestly. So, Brother Ross, are you always treated fairly, justly in everything that you do? I know it's a great place and you love your job, but does it always go every way you want it? Every job you ever had in your life, did they always just treat you like, you're the king? Here's King Ross. He's walking in the door. Let's usher this man in. It's a minimum wage job. Shut up, crawl under the refrigerator, and dig out the bugs, man. It's just the way to, no, I think that's beneath me to have to do that. I mean, shut up and get under there. Because Wimpy doesn't want to do that. Wimpy. He's the one who rides on the bus, and it's too hot. It's so hot in here. I think I'm getting a headache. We got any aspirin? A little cold compress on my forehead because I got wimpy dude. Wimpy. I can't stand wimpy guys. Now, I understand guys, who got issues and stuff, but I understand wimpy guys. I don't get that. That's a guy, now listen to me carefully, ladies, and unfortunately, wimpy guys stay wimpy. They can't, look at it, they can't get out of bed in time to get to church on Sunday morning. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock in the morning? They're the same guys. Look at me. They're the same guys who've been up till 3 o'clock every morning playing video games and come here and they can't stay awake in the service. Well, I'm just so tired. When he said, how many of you are tired? No guy in the room should have raised his hand. I'm sorry. I'm tired. I haven't had a day off in 3 months. I'm tired. I am physically exhausted. I don't feel good about myself. I'm not in touch with my inner child, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I went after we did Baptist nightclubbing last night. That's not like nightclubbing. We're in a restaurant eating food at 11 o'clock last night. You know what that is, to eat at 11 o'clock at night and go lay down when you're 61 years old? It's like flashbacks from the 60s, man. I had the wildest dreams last night. I woke up this morning and thought, what in the world? My wife asked me, she said, how you doing, honey? I said, well, I'm a little tired, but I'm good. Everything's good. She doesn't need me to go, well, I haven't had a day off in 3 months, and I got the knee thing again, baby. I understand with the knee thing. What's wrong with the knee thing? I got guys in my church. They'd be laying in a hospital bed, and the doctor's about to do 5-way bypass on them, on their heart, where you split the chest like a Thanksgiving turkey, take the heart, you put veins on it to bypass the blood veins that don't work. And the doctor would say, well, how long have you been having trouble with your heart? Oh, a couple of years. And he goes, why didn't you do something? He goes, well, you just do what you do. I go, yeah, that's my man right there. Yeah. 2 hearts with, every now and then the left arm goes numb and I pass out. But, I've been doing it for a couple of years. No big deal. Some guys, seriously, I felt something. Did you see that? I felt a flutter in my heart and I gotta get that checked out. Well, be wise about your, okay, let's get off the wimpy. Anyway, it's the worst one of the dogs, the wimpy dog. I think any dog under 50 pounds is a waste of time. Seriously. Them little lap dogs. You sit there and hold a little lap. Okay, let's go to the next one. You got your poodle now. And I want you to see this guy right here, ladies. That poodle right there. Look how shaved up he is. His hair is appropriate. He is what you call the pretty boy. Yeah, Mr. Pretty Boy. Mr. Pretty Boy, he won't sit near the window of the bus because he doesn't want to get his hair messed up because he moussed it today, and he wants to make sure that it's all right. If you ask him if he uses hair products and he starts listing them for you, trouble. Well, I use hair volumizer. Well, you want your hair louder? What do you mean hair volumizer? What in the world is that supposed to be? If a guy knows your hair products better than you do, that's what you got right there. You got Mr. Poodle Boy. Huh? They have an activity, and he goes, well, I just got these pants, and I don't want to get them all dirty. I paid $250 for these shoes. Do you think I'm going to run out in that field and play soccer? I should have brought my bag with me, and then I would have the shoes appropriate for the situation. Brother. Pretty boy. He doesn't have to be ugly to be right. Okay. Ugly people have to marry ugly people. But then you're not allowed to have children, okay? And ugly's qualified, okay? If you there's nobody ugly in here, so you're all safe. It's all good, I'm sure. But it's not like you have to get interested in an ugly guy because that means he's spiritual. Because ugly guys can be as backslidden as anybody. Young ladies, if he is more interested in his appearance. Now, a guy who's a complete slob, I got an issue with that also. You know, he says hello and 2 people in China die. Then he hasn't discovered toothpaste and a toothbrush. He smiles and his teeth are literally a petri dish of an experiment that's going on in his face. You know what I'm talking about? Huh? Seriously. He puts his arm over the back of the chair. 3 people in front of him pass out. Okay, this is bad. This is bad. But if he's one of these guys that got so much cologne on, when he walks down the street, flies die. You know what I'm saying? One of these cologne dudes, you get on an elevator with them and they choke you to death because they got so much cologne on. Look at, see that. Pretty boys, unless you want to have get interested in somebody somewhere down the road one of these days that's going to be but you can always tell a poodle boy. Here's how you get it. Watch. Every time he passes a window, he does one of these. He can't pass a mirror without looking in it. He can't pass the reflection of a window without looking at himself. Huh? You're going somewhere and you get one of your little mirror things out to make sure something didn't happen to you. And he goes, can I use that? Poodle boy. All he's interested in is this appearance of things. Not only his personal appearance, but how it looks in front of others. Hey. He's one of those guys. You know, originally poodles were bred as hunting dogs. They're from France, and they were originally bred as hunting dogs. Look what they have become. Now you got your teacup poodle, and you got your miniatures, and you got your standards, and you got poodles the size of llamas. Look what they have become. Now they're just nothing but, I think they're worthless. My wife had one before we got married. She had one. And before I knew about dating principles and things, we're sitting in the backyard. I was talking to her one day, and I started tickling her. And the dog was a poodle, thought I was hurting her, and did what a dog's supposed to do, came over and bit me on the leg. And my wife thought it was funny. Well, she wasn't my wife then. She thought it was cute. She goes, just a minute, I'll go in the house. I go, okay, go ahead. I said, hey, Fifi, or whatever the stupid dog's name was. Come here, man. I went, boom. You ever seen a dog run across the backyard on his front legs with his backside up in the air like that? Okay, I hate poodles. The truth of the matter is, they won't get dirty to do any kind of work. They won't get dirty to do anything. But they're also more concerned about the appearance of things. See, look at. They're kind of like those kind of guys who make it look good in the youth group, but in the other reality, kind of what Brother Gray talked about today, they got this secret life thing going on, and that's not really who they are and what they do, but they know how to put on the right look. Appearance of things in front of people. Huh? They know how to do the Bible boy, Jesus boy thing in front of those folks, but in reality, that's not who they are. See, that's a poodle. Next one, please. That's what you call bloodhound. A bloodhound is a hunting dog. Now then, you know what a hunting dog is good for? Hunting. They pretty much just lay around and do nothing until you say, let's go, boy. And then you get him on the scent, he's after it. Those dogs, that breed of dog right there, has an incredible sense of smell. And you get him out in the woods chasing something, that's his thing. He's a hunter. Because he's after prey. Now look at this preacher this morning. There are some guys, that's what they're after. They're after prey. And you are the prey. Any guy who would tell you, oh, I love you. And that's why I've got interested in you. And his intention is immoral and impure. Young ladies, look at this man this morning. When that guy's done with you, he'll be on to the next prey. That's all there is to it. Oh, no, Pastor Johnson, you don't understand. He loves me. No, he doesn't. Because if he really loved you right and cared about you genuinely at all, he'd keep his cotton-picking hands off of you. Love is not selfish, young people. You know 1 Corinthians 13, the charity chapter there? Right? It is always kind. It is not selfish. It's not self-centered. No, look at me, ladies. Look at me. No, you're just a prey. That's all you are to him. You're a victim. You're just the next one in line. That's all there is. And how many times I've seen young ladies get sucked in by some guy who he was so nice to me. No one's ever nice to you? Oh, but he said all the right things. What were the right things? And by the way, what were you looking for? Well, I don't have a good relationship with my father. You have a heavenly father. You can have a wonderful relationship with him. You are, to a bloodhound, you are nothing but a victim. No, you don't understand him. No, this is a guy telling young ladies about a guy who's a bloodhound. He is after prey. That's all he wants. And when he's done with you, you're a piece of junk to him, and he's on to the next one. So you understand that principle this morning. I don't have to go into a great amount of detail, but you do understand what I'm talking about. And I'm not just talking about the immoral side of things. I'm talking about just whether or not he acts like you're somebody special to him. And he pursues that. And then look at me, young ladies. You see him in the youth group. These guys, they always seem to be kind of drawn on to some girl or something like that. When that doesn't go anywhere, what does he do? Whoop, he goes to the next one. When that doesn't work, what does he do? He goes to the next one. That's a bloodhound. You better stay away from Mr. Bloodhound. All he's trying to do is build up his own ego. He's just trying to make himself look better because he's interested in this girl, now he's that girl, and he's a bloodhound. He's just a dog. And beware of those kind of dogs. Just because you have a desire for someone to be interested in you, do not sell yourself to a bloodhound. Don't you get caught up by some guy who knows the routine and the stuff. And then not every guy is like this. And all guys are not like all dogs. But this dog right here, you better identify that one. And you better be really careful about that guy because that's all he's interested in. He's just after prey. He's a hunter. Are they flirtatious? Huh? Are they flirtatious? They know how to talk to a girl. Well, they just know the right thing to say. You know where they got that? And do you know why they have that? Guys are not complex or hard to figure out, but if they know what to say to you, they know what to say to somebody else. You got a bloodhound on your hands. Are they forward? Will they win you to get what he wants and then he's on to the next hunt? A godly guy doesn't do that. Last guy, turn him on, show our man right here. That's the mutt. Baskin-Robbins, 31 flavors. He's hometown buffet. He's got every kind of breed of dog inside of him. But look at him. He's just a mutt. You know what's good about mutts, though? They're just faithful, consistent. That's all they are. Now, there's nothing to me as humiliating as seeing a guy walking down the street with two little bitty dogs on the end of a leash. big muscle bound. I saw a guy in my town the other day. He's got muscles on his earlobes. His neck is bigger than his head. And he's walking holding 2 pink dogs. And I don't think he was, queer as a football bat, but it sure looked like that. I thought, that dude needs a pit bull. He needs a wolfhound. He needs something other than them 2 little sneaking pink dogs. But you know what your best dog is? Your mutt. Listen, a mutt is a faithful, consistent kind of guy. Now again, it doesn't have to be ugly. Good-looking people are not supposed to get interested in ugly people. It's a mixed marriage. It's a mixed relationship. Not good. So you don't have to say, well, he's a good guy, but he's too good-looking. I'll have to be interested in this ugly dude over here. You don't have to do that. The point is this, though, and listen to me. The idea of the mutt as a dog is this, and as a guy is, he's just faithful and consistent at what he does. What's wrong with the guy who's always at soul winning? What's wrong with that? Is there something wrong in your youth group if people say, what are you trying to be, spiritual? Is that like a bad thing? I thought that's kind of where we were going, right? Well, he's just trying to be spiritual. Excuse me. It's like accusing me of being a white guy. I mean, that is what I am, What, are you trying to be a white guy? Well, yeah, Cherokee, but yeah, I'll go with the white part. I got that. A mutt is just one of those kind of guys who's just faithful and consistent about what he does. Watch me now. Again, how he treats his mother and his sisters is how he will treat women in his life. Talk to his mother like she's a dog. Get ready. You better get your leash because he's going to treat you like that. He's one of those kind of guys who cannot treat his sisters properly. Older or younger doesn't make any difference. He has no basic kindness about him. What is it? Look at me, young ladies. What is it about a guy with no basic kindness? What I like about mutts is they get attached to people. They get attached to a family. They're in. I mean, they're in. Hey, how is he with his family? Whenever he's with his family, is he always the negative influence? Can't get along, doesn't want to go anywhere other than family, goes to get a hamburger. He's sitting over in the corner messing with his phone, and his family's sitting there having a hamburger. Man, you know that guy right there? This is not what you would call quality person. Mutt just gets in with the family. They're there. Some people are a little crazy about their dogs. They're a little nuts. Do you ever hear people say that? Well, we don't have any children. Our dog is our child. I go, well, then you got ugly kids, man. Look at that thing. Yeah, nice. I mean, that is one nasty kid right there. I don't care what it is. Don't call your dog apart. One of your children. Maybe a part of the family unit, but no, that's okay, never mind. Much are consistent. They're faithful and consistent guys who just get done what they need to get done. Hey, they stay in school. They graduate. And they finish up. They're not one of those guys who graduate from high school and they run off and get heathen. That's not a mutt. You know what a mutt does? A mutt gives his 13th year to God and goes to Bible college to give 1 year. I don't care what he's going to do. I don't care if he's going to be a garbage truck driver. He's still going to go to Bible college and give God at least 1 year of his Bible college after he's graduated. Because the mutt hears that and he goes with that. Why do you want a guy who says, well, I don't really need to do that. I need to get on with my degree in flipping burgers at Five Guys. Excuse me. Look here. A mutt just kind of lines up and gets in on that thing. They're very consistent about what they do. They're faithful to it. They don't have issues with authority. Okay, they're teenage guys who feel their oaths, but when you can tell them to do something, they'll do it. I was sitting on a platform the other day preaching there, and the president of the college there and the vice president of the college, 10 years ago, both of them were punks. I mean, major punks, big P punks. And now one of them's the president of the college and the vice president. You know why they got over the punk thing and they became mutts? Learned to line up and do what they needed to do. Young ladies, if you're going to understand a guy, you want to start to understand and look for a guy who's a mutt, who just does what he's supposed to do. He actually, hey, look at me. He doesn't go to his mom and say, why didn't you buy me the shoes I wanted? Shut up and get a job and go pay for them. What is the deal? I was giving the guys what for about it yesterday. Now, if your parents don't want you to work, I understand that. But a guy, you want $375 pair of LeBrons. You go get a job and make $375 and buy you a pair of LeBrons so you can walk around with them unlaced and your britches hanging down. You know, it's unbelievable to me. But he fusses with his mother because she didn't have my shirt washed for me today. What kind of a jerk is that? Didn't wash your own stinking shirt. Huh? Hey, look at me, ladies. Look at me. You don't want to have somebody who has to be taken care of the rest of their life. When my wife, we're very seldom we're apart, but sometimes she'll go to speak to some ladies. And she'll say, when I left some food in the refrigerator and there's some leftovers in there and I got a couple meals put away and I got these kind of things, will you be okay? I go, I'm not in a wheelchair. I can actually run a microwave and I know where the nearest restaurants are. Don't worry, I can take care of myself. I'm not going to sit here and starve, sweetheart. I may eat nachos for 5 days, but I'm not going to, because you just put cheese on the chips, put them in the microwave, nuke it, pull it out, boom, you're good to go. That's all good. I said, no, sweetheart, I'll be okay. You won't come back and find me laying in the middle of the floor because I don't have socks. I mean, I can actually dress myself. Laying in church the other day, she said, I like your suit, Pastor, and you're tight. Does your wife pick out your clothes? I go, no, and my mom quit dressing me when I was a child. Okay. The mutt, okay? He does get in at church. He does. He's there. He doesn't have to have somebody bribe him to go to youth conference. He'll raise his money and he'll go because he knows he needs to go. Or we get a picture of a mutt, ladies. One more time. I'm not trying to get the boyfriend, girlfriend thing. I'm not interested in that at all. I'm trying to help you understand guys. Now listen, every guy is one of these 7 dogs right here. Bypass the first 6 and let the Lord give you wisdom to find a mutt. So how do I do that? Then if your dad's a godly man, ask your dad, give your dad veto permission over every guy you ever even remotely get interested in. Say, Dad, my girls, I got to hurry and finish. My girls, when they went to Bible college, I said, okay, here's a couple rules in Bible college. Any guy that asks you to go to an activity, he has to ask me first. He can ask you, but then you tell him, go see my dad. Now, at the Bible college where I teach, I got a little bit of a reputation. Kind of rough. A little edgy. After the first year, my youngest daughter said, Daddy, nobody will ask me to go on an activity because they're all scared of you. I said, then too bad. Because they're the wimpy dog. So get him to come and talk to me. So she said, okay, Daddy, this boy wants to ask me to an activity. But he is so scared of you, Dad. I said, just tell him to come see me. I'm not going to cook him and eat him. So I go to the college. We get there early in the morning for the meal. He's standing over there in the dining hall. Knees. I walk over to him. I say, you so-and-so? He goes, yeah. I go, you stand right there. I'll come talk to you in a minute. Went over, sat down, had breakfast, talked with my preacher friends. I went over to talk to him. I said, okay, what's the deal? He said, well, Pastor Johnson, I'd like to ask you if I could take Bethany to an activity. I said, are you going to brush your teeth? He goes, yes, sir. And I go, why? He goes, good hygiene? I said, okay, bud, you can take her. I checked you out. I talked to your youth pastor, talked to all these other people, checked you out on the FBI most wanted list, America's most wanted, did a fingerprint background check, DNA test, and your pastor, youth pastor, and your kindergarten teacher said you're okay. So you can take her out. But Holmes, let me tell you something. If she says you're in any way inappropriate toward her, I will kill you. I said, I will kill you. I will not call the president. You will not get demerits. You will get a coffin. Both my girls wound up marrying young men that they met at college down the road. Because my girls trusted their dad to help them with this. You got a godly father? Trust him. Got a godly pastor? You should. Youth pastor? Then trust him. Let a man help you with understanding, guys. Heavenly Father, bless what we have heard today. I pray this simple lesson has been a blessing to all.